That's it. I'm biting the bullet. I've been stalling getting into Breyer customizing since 2021, so it's been 4 years, and to be honest, just the thought of getting into it has always been so overwhelming and so intimidating. I have no idea how an airbrush works. It looks like a freaking weapon that aliens would use. I have no idea how a compressor works. I mean, I kind of get it, I kind of understand the concept behind it, but not really. I have no idea how to paint in a way that actually looks good, and I've never really handled failure well. It's always chipped away at my confidence, and it's always made me feel like I'm stupid and like I can't get anything done. For that wrong belief to change, I need to start somewhere. I need to confront that somehow. So not only I love horses and, the thought of customizing, but also maybe this is the way for me to tackle and to confront all of these thinking patterns that I have that are just not healthy. So I'm ready. I'm excited, I'm nervous, but it's about time I do it. It's been way too long, and let's get after it. I jotted down a list of all the things that I needed and forgot some very important things, and it really felt like the list was endless, which cost me a lot of money. Then I went down the rabbit hole of watching a lot of videos, researching which airbrush is the best. I watched a lot of Darren's videos, and I ended up going with the iordache airbrush. And weirdly enough, there was a single person in the entire country selling this airbrush. I messaged them, I got it, and then I got all the other things that I needed, and I just waited for things to show up. In the meantime, I picked a model horse that I would start prepping and getting ready for customization. I went with Maneos. As you guys probably remember from my video, it came with a loose stand in the box, which just turned the whole horse in nothing but a body. So he's just a body. There's just no other way to describe him. Look at that dude, that's disgusting. The first thing that came was the airbrush, which I was very excited for. I've never actually seen an airbrush before in person. And yeah, just really cool, but also very confusing. Like, how does this thing even not only work, but what is it made out of? Like, what are all those pieces inside of it that make it do the things that it does? Pretty sure this is absolutely garbage. And then this is what I care about. Are you for real? I bought this. I already bought one of these. I then gave the horse a good bath just to make sure there weren't any oils on the horse on my hands, or any dust, or any sort of impurities that would hinder the primer from actually sticking to the horse, or that would make the primer just not look good on the horse. You guys, I'm genuinely so happy. I've been smiling for the past 30 minutes. I look so stupid. I've wanted to do this for so long, but I was always too afraid to tackle it. I'm genuinely so happy. But little did I know, that was about to change soon. I'd only slept about 5 hours the night before because I was that eager to start customizing. And at first, things went pretty good. The first layer of primer went on nice and smooth. Is it supposed to look grainy? For the most part. But then, scatterbrain kicked in. I was so tired, I completely forgot to shake the can for the second coat. And to wear my gloves. That's when the problems began. I'm genuinely so upset. I think that I was so scatterbrained that I literally forgot to shake the can. I barely did. Which is why it's so grainy, and now it's either I strip the horse and then I waste time because I need to, and also money, bro, because the primer is not cheap. And the little cans that I have, one can is only enough for a traditional. Now, the good thing is that I have 2 cans, but even then, anyway, it's so grainy that it's abrasive, it's not smooth to the touch. So I'm really upset. What I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be going outside and trying another layer, and then if it doesn't smooth out, then I need to just strip it eventually. Dude, I was so scatterbrained that I even forgot to put gloves on. How do you do that? I did one more coat of primer, and it did not help. I am genuinely so upset. I'm just gonna try and sand it down first. I got a 180 grit, which I realize is not... I realize the grits are not small enough, but at this point, I'm gonna give this a shot. If it doesn't work, I'll just strip the model. Okay, so that actually just scratched my model really bad. I'll just strip the paint. Man, I'm actually so discouraged. And if only things couldn't get worse, my grandpa shoes you guys bullied me for were under attack. Oh shoot, not on my freaking shoe, dude. Oh my god. I'm not having a good day today. Oh my god, if that's gonna literally take the collar off of my shoe, I'm gonna rage. I feel the amount of things that I'm destroying by just trying to customize is not worth. It's just not worth it. You know what I mean? What, now I'm gonna ruin my grandpa's shoes? Are you for real? Those are my everything. Like, I say that jokingly, but like, I actually like really like them. If there was one thing that I was learning at this point, it was that rushing when painting is a recipe to disaster, and that patience is key. And I had always struggled with patience, and dude, it was really showing. Are you kidding me, dude? Are you for real? After a few hours, I tried removing the primer off of the horse, and I had little to no success, so I just sprayed it again, put it in the bag, and went to sleep. Hey everyone, I'm feeling a little bit less demotivated today and less discouraged. I'm trying to look at, failure is not a bad thing, but rather something that I'm learning to avoid in the future. So basically discovering and eliminating ways that are not efficient or working when it comes to customizing. And dude, the primer is not really getting off. It sat overnight, and I've been constantly spraying the model again with the oven cleaning solution with a spray, and it's still like not really coming off. So that's really frustrating because I thought that today I would be able to start priming again, but it's probably not going to happen until tomorrow. I know this is going to sound like an exaggeration, but yesterday was really rough for me and I felt worthless, which again I know sounds wild, it sounds ridiculous maybe, but I was like, I can't even prime a model horse, like I can't even do that really. Like I failed even that, which is such an easy thing to do. Like it looks easy, but actually it's really not easy. It's actually really challenging, and I feel like priming is an art expression in of itself, which you gotta master and perfect in time. And I messed up big time. Like, I'm not gonna blame the spray cans, which are oftentimes faulty and dumb, and it's usually like things you can't even predict, and it's like, why did my spray can just do that? It wasn't that, it was my fault. I didn't shake the can enough. I was so scatterbrained and I didn't know what I was thinking about. It was so frustrating. I felt like I wasted an entire day. I slept for 3 hours because that's how excited I was to get to work, and then I messed up, and it felt like such a pushback because now I gotta like go through all this stripping the model, which I thought was gonna take only one night. It doesn't. It's the second day. The primer is still not coming off, so I'm most likely gonna have to start priming tomorrow, which I was hoping to do today. So it's just like, I'm not a patient person, and this is really hard. Like, I want to get to work ready, get it done, and have fun in the process. So far that's not been the case. I just got the package with the paints. I was not expecting them to come today, but here they are. So I did some more scrubbing, and this is what it looks like now. I know that's terrible, but it doesn't actually didn't change the texture. Like, you can't actually feel those spots or scratches, so that's great. It's nearly impossible to get this primer entirely off of him. The good part is that it's no longer abrasive or grainy, so it's like he's entirely smooth, which is good. That's what I want. It's funny how he's like now like a brighter bay than the original. The original looks very dark. I'll just clean it again with dish soap, and then I'll let it dry for the night, and we'll get to priming again tomorrow. I was really inspired to actually first try to primer on a piece of cardboard because my primer actually ran out, and had I sprayed a horse with that primer, I would have splattered the entire model. I then used my second spray can, and I did a first layer and a second layer. It's coming together, guys. It's finally smooth. I did 2 layers. I'm thinking I have to do 3 or 4 more. I think I should do 4 because you can still see the old primer. It's not like that it's not going to be covered anyway with paint, but I don't think that it would be a good idea to not have it fully covered, because what if then that's going to affect the depth of the horse or the colors, like the way that the colors are going to be seen on the horse itself. You know what I mean? So I'm currently letting it dry, but I don't know if you can see, but the finish is so much smoother than the way that it was yesterday. And I mean, you cannot touch it, but I'm telling you it is smooth, which is good. Yo, I just got my compressor, and there's a lot of other stuff that I need to get, including airbrush brushes. I got the manual for the thing itself, and then the cable cord. And here it is. It better not be loud. It better not be, because if it is, then I'm gonna get in trouble. Here we have the beast. Bro, you can barely hear the thing. Like, that's great. I'm actually so happy. Because I've got neighbors, bro. Like, I live in an apartment. I've got neighbors above me and below me, so this is just great. So this is the 3rd coat, and it's not as abrasive. Like, you can't even compare it to the way that it was the other day, but it's not entirely smooth. Like, the older primer looks really bad, and it actually did affect its texture. Like, where the old primer is, it is a little bit more rough. So I definitely need a 4th layer if not even fifth, but I don't have any more primer for that. To the touch, it's not very smooth, but it's not abrasive either. I mean, it is a little bit, but I feel like primer does leave a bit of a texture. But it's, dude, it's nothing compared to the way that it was. Bro, this is like the tiniest thing that I've seen in my life. I did a fourth coat and I'm out of spray can, like primer. I find that when it starts almost like bleeding, like it looks wet, that's when it turns out to be very smooth. Like look at the face, you can even see that it's like glossy. I thought that bleeding was the problem, but apparently that's what makes it like smooth. The fourth layer made it more abrasive, which is a problem, but there's literally no going back now. I'm not redoing this and I don't even have any more primer. And it's a pain. And I'm not sure if it's supposed to feel slightly abrasive or not. Maybe it has a slight like roughness to it, the primer does. So it turns out I have the wrong hose. Man, this has been such a journey for me so far, and like I'm just so done. Like I want to say that, you know, I'm quitting, I'm done, but there's just no way. There's just no going back now. I've spent so much money. It's just so frustrating, man. There's so many like, you know, like roadblocks. They just keep appearing out of nowhere and it's just like so frustrating. This thread here works for the airbrush and for the compressor. The other end doesn't work for any. So I need to buy a hose that has this thread on both ends. My dad got me the sandpaper. It's 1500 grit. It's really fine, and I'm gonna try and sand down the rodent, but I'll start with under the tail because I don't wanna scratch it again like I did last time. I know it's a huge difference in the grit size, but regardless, I don't wanna risk it. Bro, I literally took the paint off. Are you kidding me? All right, so I know I said it's taking the paint off, but like it's actually kind of working in that it does make the surface more smooth and it doesn't actually remove the paint off of the hoof. And then I did some on the leg here and it did smoothen it out. Like it feels different. See, and it doesn't actually take the paint off or the primer off until it does, lol. Imagine. I've been sanding this bad boy for like the past hour or so, I believe. He is really smooth. The problem is that in some areas the primer is like completely gone. As you can see those specks there, I hope that paint's still gonna like stick to the horse in those areas, because if not, then that's gonna be a problem. I don't have any more primer, so this better work. But anyway, just really happy that it's like so smooth, dude. And it kind of like, the paint, it's mostly in these areas here where I didn't even prime enough that the paint, you know, got removed. But I don't think that's gonna be a problem. We'll find out. It really seems like this whole process is just trial and error. You know what I mean? It's like, I keep messing it up. It's like kind of the only way that I'm learning anything. Definitely don't want to die right now. I soon realized I also needed a cleaning pot for my airbrush. So I placed an order, I got it, I got to unboxing it. And then I got my airbrush and I started watching Darren's video on how to deassemble and clean an airbrush. And at one point, I kind of got stuck. I don't know how this works, but I figured it out eventually. Okay, now I understand why I got such a humongous desk like a few years back. I love that resin. I'm getting distracted. My hose arrived, so I picked it up. Alright, this is the hose that I got, and it better be good. And I think it's good. Yeah, it's good. Bro, it works. So I got me this mask, but I don't understand how to assemble it. It's got all these, like, filters. But the problem is that there's no English. Do you know what I mean? Like, the visual is not enough for my brain to comprehend what to do and how it goes together. So
if you were using a reusable respirator.
Yo, this is really uncomfortable. Like, I can't even breathe. I mean, I can, but it's very like, it's a little difficult to do so. So what I did is I actually used the cheap paints that I got with the airbrush. At least I think they're cheap. And I just tested it out on a bottle of water. I wanted to get some practice in on something that was like a 3D object, not a 2D object. And to be fair, this didn't really help much. Okay, I want to stop. I want to paint the horse. This is boring. Alright, I'm done. I decided to go on Pinterest and get a good reference picture of a bay horse. And I decided on this one. And then the fun began. These were the colors that I used, and this is the way that the horse looked like. I never really actually showed you guys a real good video of how the primed and sanded horse looked like. And yeah, I just cleaned my airbrush and I gave the horse a good base coat. Oh shoot, I got freaking paint on my desk, bro. Huge thanks to Leo, who literally guided me through the entire process and helped me along the way with every little single question that I had, and there were at least 1,000 questions. Everything went fine until it didn't. I got way too much paint in this one spot, and I tried to smear the paint and kind of even it out with my finger. And if you're gonna get anything from this video, I messed up. Let it be that you should not touch the freaking paint with your finger, because that's gonna leave a mark, and there's pretty much no way to get rid of that. Oh my god. I literally tried everything. I tried damping my finger in water to smooth out the area. It didn't work. Just cracked the paint and it left a humongous ridge. I tried airbrushing over that multiple times and the ridge was still visible and it just looked terrible. I even attempted to wash all the paint off, but it was just not coming off. I just jumped from one method to another, just hoping something would stick, and something did. Okay, so a little update. I sanded the ridges, as you know, and didn't really work. But I airbrushed over that, and I was like, oh shoot, you can still see the ridges. And then I was like, wait a second, what if I like pull a Denisism, and I pulled the trigger all the way, and I did that. And it actually kind of worked in that like a lot of paint was put on the coat, but then it kind of started dripping. So I was like, wait, what if I just like push the trigger without pulling it at all, so it just spits air, so that like, you know, pushes the paint. And that was a problem, because then it created a smear effect again. And I just used my finger, like I went to the sink, like I ran literally, and damped my finger in warm water, and I just like kind of, you know, caressed, if I may use that word, the horse. And like, it kind of worked. Then I got back to painting and I used raw sienna for the second layer. At one point the airbrush started spitting and I was very confused as to why that was happening. Why is it splashing, man? I looked it up and it turns out this is a very common rookie mistake. I wasn't bringing the trigger back to its initial position before releasing. And by doing that, I was basically abruptly stopping the propelling of the paint. And the moment I tried using the airbrush again and hold down on the trigger, the paint that should have come out but didn't because I abruptly stopped it, wasn't spat out on the horse. Then another thing happened where the paint started bubbling up. What the heck? Bro, what is going on? And there usually means there's a problem with your airbrush. So I had to deassemble it again and clean it out again. And also I sound really funny with the mask on, like literally Sid from Ice Age. Moving on to the third layer with burnt sienna. Bro, why is he so red? Moving on to the fourth layer with burnt umber, but this happened. Well, there goes half of my burnt umber. last coat I did was with carbon black, and at first I only wanted to do the legs. After having done so, I was like, wait a minute, this looks really odd with the black legs and the bay body, so I did decide to bite a bullet and start applying black to the body as well. I'm so glad that I did because the coat turned out to be so much more rich. I let the paint dry overnight, and then I got an airbrush, a toothbrush, and a brush, and I made sure there wasn't any dust or any impurities on the horse to make sure I can safely apply sealer on the horse without getting anything stuck under the coat. I put my sealer can in warm water because at this point I had PTSD when it came to spray cans, and I still do. I just wanted to make sure that the chemicals in there are evenly distributed and mixed up so that the sealer would actually do its job well. I sealed the horse with a few coats just to be able to handle it and paint the eyes and the hooves. After the sealer had dried, I decided to start painting the eyes, and these are the colors that I use for that, and this dainty little brush. For reference, I mainly use this one picture, but I also had Landler next to me just to look at his eye proportions and try and recreate that. I didn't like the shape of it. There was way too much black in the eye, and it was also bleeding and dripping a little bit, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to airbrush over the eyes and start over, and I kind of blamed the brush for the way that the eyes turned out, but I don't think it was that. But anyway, I still placed an order for a new brush, and in the meantime, I decided to paint the hooves. I also painted stripes on my brush just to add extra detail. And what I did afterwards is I airbrushed the hooves with black from the top down and airbrushed from the bottom up with white. The problem is that I airbrushed a little bit too much to the point where the stripes were no longer visible, and I think I had to redo this a few times. I even used masking just because I was overspraying way too much and I didn't like that. I peeled the masking off, which I think is pretty satisfying. I still didn't like it, so I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna paint the hooves black because they just looked a little bit too unrealistic for my liking. And this is the final result. You can barely see a little sliver of white at the very top. Maybe I might have covered a little bit too much of that, but it's alright, I still like them, they're fine. My brush finally came, and I've never spent so much money in my life on a brush. I never thought I would. I mean, just still thinking about it is kind of like, that's just insane. But the way that I go about things is if I want to get something done, then I want to get it done with excellence, and I'm going to buy the best of the best just to make sure that what I'm doing is going to be top notch. And yeah, I mean, that's the way that I am, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, right? Anyway, I've never seen a more bougie brush in my life. I mean, what is with the packaging? I'm all for it, but just take a load of this yourself. I started doing the eyes again. I added the white first, and then I did the black, and I hated the shape, so I had to airbrush over it and restart again. I added the off-white / creamy color for the whites, and then I added the black, and then I added burnt umber and burnt sienna for the brown color. And for the highlights, I added just a little bit of raw sienna. I had a really hard time painting the eyes. I think it took me about 2 hours, and I was very unhappy with them. I did not use any water, which was a big problem. I wasn't sure if I should use water or not, so I didn't. And the colors didn't blend well. So it looked very rough and just very, very amateur. Then I used this red acrylic color for the polo pony tail wraps. Then I moved on to signing the horse, and the amount of times that I had to redo this is actually egregious. I also touched the horse up with some black, and I did some more shading. Signing your name with a brush is really not easy, especially when you have to do curves like I had to do for the S in my name. That was just so frustrating. Everything looks good except for the S. And now guess what? I most likely have to restart everything over again. I love customizing. It's just such a good, relaxing time. I'm definitely not a perfectionist, you guys. I'm definitely not a perfectionist. So what happened here is I had to cover up my previous signature because I hated it. Not once, but 5 times. And I cannot paint over, you can even see where I covered it up because I put way too much paint there. But anyway, I cannot paint over that now because it's wet and because I'd have to first seal the horse and then try again, which I did try to re-sign the horse without sealing it and it didn't go well. Anyway, I had to sign a little bit under that spot just so that I'd sign over a sealed part. And I don't love it. I kind of hate the S, but I kind of like it. It's kind of like artistic, but I hate the fact that like the D and the E are a little smaller and then the N, IS and the I at the end are bigger. But dude, I need to calm down. Like I'm making my life a living torment, a living hell, because I cannot settle for anything less than whatever is perfect in my mind. I decided to touch the horse up a little bit because it was too grainy and I decided to shake my carbon black paint, but I forgot that the lid wasn't actually fully closed, and so this happened. Bro, I got paint everywhere in my room. Everywhere, dude. I thought the lid was closed. A few days later, I was like, alright, I need to redo the eyes. I literally spent almost a month on this custom, and I'm not gonna seal it if I don't like the eyes. Like, there's just no way that's happening. So I gave it another shot. It took me about 3 hours to actually finish the eyes, and this time I actually used water, and that really helped with blending the colors together, and it turned out much better. I actually love this eye, dude. This is the final result. Mine is a pupil. After the paint had dried, I wanted to seal the horse, but there were multiple issues, and I attempted to use the spray can, and it worked for a few layers, but then it kind of just stopped, like it had no more pressure, despite there being so much pressure in the can. I put the nozzle in isopropyl alcohol, I put the spray can in warm water, and it still didn't work. So I attempted to stick a needle in the nozzle area, just in case there was sealer stuck in there, and it was really acting up. That is no good. Now this is where things went south. I decided to stick the sewing needle in the hole of the spray can, and that was a really great mistake. Okay, so that actually got in my eye. Oh my god. Alright, I'm a little scared, not gonna lie. That literally got in my eye. So I got in the shower and I tried keeping my eye under the stream of the water, which was extremely difficult. I think we all know how dangerous these cans are. I think I see fine. Like, it's not bad, but the thing with varnish is that it actually hardens in time. So I knew the problem wasn't just with the nozzle. I mean, yes, the stupid sealer or varnish or whatever you want to call it does harden and cover up the nozzle. It wasn't that, I mean, it was that, but I also knew that there was a lot of pressure, as you guys saw. There was a lot of pressure in the can itself, so I tried sticking a needle in that, and for some reason, I mean, kind of makes sense, it kind of exploded, and it got a little bit in my eye. So yeah, that's fun. This is so memorable. I mean, it couldn't have gotten more memorable than this. I mean, I already went through a hell and back trying to get this custom done, and now at the end, this happens. That's great. I'm in. I mean, it's not like I could get out. You know what I mean? My hair is just disgusting. But anyway, so fun. We're trying this again, and this time I'm gonna wear glasses. I don't have any glasses. These are not mine, but I gotta protect my eyes somehow, and there's definitely pressure in the can that's gotta go. I think that's the thing that's wreaking havoc. Why, dude? I think I'm done, honestly. I'm gonna just buy a new can. After waiting about a week and a half, my primer finally arrived. Oh my word, you guys, I'm actually like devastated. So I was dusting the horse with the airbrush and all these tools here. And I was using this for light, which was perched up here. And it fell like that and it hit my horse. And now look at that, dude. Like I'm so upset. I'm so upset, dude. Just look at that, man. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's bad. So, man, I'm actually so upset. This was the last step, just to finish everything. The spray can worked perfectly fine, and I sealed the horse once, and then I tried fixing the scratch with brown, which looked really bad. So then I tried going over it with black, and I don't know why, but it looked really jet black, and so that kind of forced me to cover more of the surface with black, just to even it out. And then I sealed the horse again, and then finally, probably my favorite part, glossing the eyes and the hooves. It really feels like you're bringing the custom to life. And that was it. It was finally done. The whole process of painting this horse was so much more than just learning how to customize a Breyer. It was about challenging myself in ways that didn't really want to be challenged. About sitting with discomfort, with imperfection, with the parts of me that wanted to give up when things didn't turn out right. I learned patience, the kind that isn't glamorous, the kind that takes time and silence. Because we live in a world that worships instant results. And this reminded me that some of the best things, the meaningful things, simply can't be rushed. And somewhere along the way, this horse became like a mirror. And in it, I saw pieces of myself. The pride, the insecurity, the perfectionism I try so hard to hide behind getting it right. But maybe art isn't about getting it right. Maybe it's about getting real. And in that messy, imperfect process, maybe that's where the beauty actually begins.